everybody, and welcome again to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob and co-host Peter.
How are you doing, Bob?
We're back again. It's a Sunday, so instead of watching football playoffs, you should be ready for MLB Showdown release. We have the Tampa Bay Rays today, the American League done by me that I did, and as I was telling Peter offline that I really had a lot of fun making this team, and I think Peter did as well with doing the statistics of it. And I think you guys, as you guys go through this, even though you might not want everybody, you'll at least find it very entertaining. The defense, the position eligibilities, innings pitched, charts, and stuff like that.
They're definitely one of the most unique 90-win teams I've ever seen in Showdown format, and I think they only got to 90 wins through some really innovative and cost-effective strategies, kind of Moneyball to the real limits, and it's really reflected in their Showdown cards.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was kind of surprised afterwards that when I was doing the stats and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, they did win 90 games because they don't have a true 10 on base power hitter that most of these teams have. They're not loaded up, but they do play a lot of positions. They do it well, and they do a lot of flexibility with their bullpen, with the opener and whatnot. Like Brian Kenny from MLB Network talks about a lot, but they took advantage of that a lot, and it's definitely a trend in baseball. There's a couple people doing stuff like this, so we will see if this trend continues. But it's really interesting in their showdown cards.
And they're really young.
Oh my God, I think surprising.
And it makes me optimistic for their ability to contend this upcoming season and in 2020. What these guys still on their rookie deals and adding guys like Charlie Morton, I think the Rays are going to stick around in that, at least the wild card hunt in the AL for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I don't see them overtaking the Red Sox, the Yankees, but they're not a team to shy away from. I mean, they literally have a Cy Young candidate on their team, and then they have a great, just young stud staff. There was a lot of these rookie symbols I had to put on some cards. I had to double check a bunch of people because there are just so many people. So let's start off with the first batter, which I think is one of the more draftable cards in this set, or in this team, is Malik Smith, and he is high on base, high speed, high position. This reminds me of the Lorenzo Cain we talked about earlier.
Yeah, Lorenzo Cain from earlier, but I think with a better chart. He's got a triple. He's got 4 triples, single plus at 10, which gets you an opportunity to get on second base very well in either format you're playing with. My rules or Bob's. I mean, he gets +5 for the steal under your rules, if I remember right, which makes him +3. Still at 26 speed.
Yeah.
Like even a +10 catcher who's supposed to be locked down only has a 20% chance to get him. Absolutely phenomenal leadoff hitter. I'm going to be trying to draft him.
Yeah, I like these, high on base guys, high speed guys, and high defense. I'm okay with not having the home run, like you said. You're probably getting on second base with a 10 or above.
Yep.
I think for sure this guy is getting drafted.
Yeah. And then Tommy Pham, who caused a stir of controversy in Tampa Bay.
I like
recently. Who knows if he'll be there next year, but he was a bold pickup for them, and I think a really smart pickup because he's really good.
Yeah, overall, great card. He's a great player in baseball. You get a high-speed guy, another high on base. This one actually has pop. Therefore, you're going to get a little bit higher salary, but I think it's worth it with this guy. I do like his controversy. I said online, I think that I liked when Baker Mayfield called out the Cleveland Browns fans and said, hey, show up to the game and support us.
Yeah.
Here's Tampa Bay saying the same thing. I know they're trying to move their stadium closer to the actual Tampa Bay, but he's got a point. He used to play in St. Louis where the fans loved the Cardinals, and now he comes to Tampa Bay, and he really wants them to support him, and I think that they should. And I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I hope he drives the fan base to really show up, because I think this team actually looks pretty fun to play.
They look like they should be hometown heroes, for sure, and someone to really rally around. Another really draftable player here, the first rookie of several we're getting to, Joey Wendell. Talk about position flexibility, good on base, and a good chart for 260 points.
Yeah, I talked about it to you. I think that this guy reminded me of Miguel Cairo a bit.
Yeah.
But better. I mean, so
Yeah.
he's not the A speed 8 that Cairo had in no home run, but he doesn't get out very often if he gets the advantage. He's got a 3 walk. But yeah, 3 positions and 2 of them being plus defense.
Yep.
And yeah, he's not A speed, quote unquote, but he's a 19. Yeah. But 13 single plus. I felt really cool about grabbing this image, putting it on the card. It goes really well.
Good.
Yeah. I think he's, especially for you said 260. I just feel like he's going to be someone looked at early because of his value.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a really valuable hitter, 6 through 9. Any of those slots, you're getting a good guy for a 5,000 point team. So I think he's going to be great for them. And then you have one of the more traditional boppers in CJ Cron with just an absolute monster chart with the on-base 7, which high risk, high reward.
Yeah, and a typical low on-base, high home run hitter, strikes out a lot, but
doubles a lot.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into with this guy. Obviously, I think he got traded, if I'm not mistaken. He's on the Twins, isn't he?
He is. Yep, now on the Twins. So he
so him and Cruz.
Yeah, they're gonna team up.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Should be pretty nice. But obviously, this card, not the pennant edition, is he made it. He's on the Rays.
Yep.
He might find a spot in a team. I don't see too many people hoping for this guy, but he's probably going to fall onto a team.
Well, with 16 teams drafting, I think he'll end up finding a way into first base. He's one of the more expensive first basemen overall in the set. So he probably will, even though I think people are definitely going to be a little freaked out by the 1 to 6 strikeout range he has.
Yeah, I mean, in the 7 on base, there's going to be interesting. Obviously, with the 16 team draft that me and Peter are going to be part of, he's going to find a spot, but he's in a lowered league, 10-person, 12-person, 8-person league. He's probably not finding a spot as frequently. Yeah. Obviously, a good segue then to stay tuned to after we're done with releasing all the 2018 cards. Me and Peter and a few other people are probably going to break down draft strategies and other players during this 2018 set release that we think are great players to pick up or pass on, etc. It's going to be probably a longer show, but a good one for anybody that's going to be doing drafts coming up to pay attention to.
And here's a guy that's definitely going to come up in the show, in Matt Duffy. 250 points for an on-base 9, plays third base, which is a surprisingly strong position in the 2018 set. The hot corner has really made a rise in terms of a lot of very valuable hitters. But whenever you can get a guy for under normal value with an on-base 9, he's definitely going to get snagged up at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely you don't want to overwhelm your team with people that don't have a lot of power, but getting people on base is how you win the games. Obviously Moneyball, but that's how you do it in Showdown as well. So grabbing some salary-friendly guys at high on base to fit, like you said, 6 through 9 is the guys you're going to look for, and this guy fits that mold pretty nicely.
And then we've got Willie Adams, another rookie. And I'm excited to see how he continues to develop as a hitter. I think we might have had him in our developmental league as one of the minor league prospects. But he's an interesting hitter, on base 7, homer at 18. Not a lot of speed. It's kind of the antithesis of what you usually expect from a shortstop.
Yeah. And again, the speed in our league or in this set is based on not just their ability to steal second, but their ability to run the bases and tag up. So, that could be factored in a lot of different ways.
So I just looked it up. Willie Adams, his peak potential. So, hypothetically, what he could develop into as a major leaguer, it's an on-base 9, homer at 18 guy. More likely on-base 9, homer at 20 with some doubles, with plus defense.
That sounds fine.
Unfortunately, he busted in our thing, so he's not going to be in season 2. He washed out, but I'm more optimistic for real life Willie Adams becoming a real force and one of the better shortstops in the American League.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch him go forward. Another defensive guy,
Yeah.
which I think will get drafted, is like I said, I like my speed and defense guys. This one you're not going to get your on base. You're only going to get the 5 here on base, but you're going to say I'm going to get a double at 10 if I
Yep.
ever get the advantage, and I only have to spend 110 points, and I'm going to lock down center field.
Well, and even more impressive than the double at 10 is triple at 13.
Yeah.
That's almost a guaranteed run with his speed A 22 at that spot if he gets to third with 1 out or fewer. He's really good, really good fielder. Obviously, speed. I'm probably not going to take him at 110 points.
Mm-hmm.
I just the on base 5 scares me a little too much,
Yeah.
but I definitely get how it factors in
Yeah.
to a lot of strategies.
Yeah, I see him obviously not looking. This is Kevin Kiermaier that we're talking about. I can see a lot of people picking him up, just saying, I'm going to hit center field with a +3 for 110 points, but then I'm going to spend my 350, 400 on left field, right field, or something like that. And
Yeah.
but that's the only way. I don't like on base 5 guys, and
Yep.
I'm like you, but it might come down to the fact that you need that +3 center field, and 110 points is a nice little chunk. It's not like the old 50-point
Yeah.
players, but I feel like he's gonna find a spot. I almost wish
Definitely.
he was like the Malik Smith where he doesn't homer, and then
Yep.
you could have gotten him cheaper. But he does have a little pop, and therefore he's gonna cost you a little bit of points.
And I think too, there's going to be space for him on teams in a 16-team draft.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think in the more typical 8 teams, like a lot of people do, 8 to 10, maybe he's a little tougher to fit in because you're going to have so many more higher point options in the early rounds. But I think depth is going to be a factor, and people are going to have more points towards the end of the draft than they're normally anticipating. And I mean, I'm probably going to over budget and be like, oh crap, I've got 730 points for my last 3 guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he falls to. Obviously, and we're talking about our 16-team league a lot. Yeah, you're right. I don't think he's going anywhere in an 8-team league unless you're like super big on center field, high +3 range. But I'd rather have like Malik Smith for center fielder +2 and get 4 more on base.
Yep.
But anyway, let's move on to the new Indian who just got traded.
Mr. Cleveland, Jake Bauers over here. So he's got a big double range, but probably not going to get drafted by a lot of people. I think his potential is more interesting, and he was also one of our prospects. The Rays had a lot of prospect guys get significant playing time, and you'll be happy to know that we project his peak. Like if he does as well as we could hope in the majors as an on-base 9, homer at 18, speed 13 guy with +1 fielding in the outfield and possibly good at first base, but his likely range is on-base 8, homer at 18. So he should develop into a very useful 250 to 280 point player for the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, so right now I look at his card and I go, ugh, what did we get?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're looking at what his potential could be, not really what he is. His card right now, it's not really playable.
First base defense, but
you're not really grabbing.
I think he's useful as a bench guy.
Yeah.
If you have a league where you get 1/5 salary on the bench, you bring in the defense late, get some speed late. That's pretty much it.
And then on to their catcher, which I think is undraftable.
Yeah. It's beautiful looking.
I like to find my catchers that are actually catching in their home territory with their pads on and stuff, which I was able to hear. But with an on-base 4, super slow C speed, gets out a lot, he can barely hit a double with 19 and 20. He reminds me like the old
average arm.
Yeah, like an Albert Castillo guy, but with no arm. 4 points for Jesus Sucre. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Is not drafting. I'm also probably not drafting Carlos Gomez, who again is this plus outfielder, A speed 20, but nothing really to show for this chart because of the 5 on base.
Yep.
But Daniel Robinson,
very interesting.
Yeah, multiple positions. including second base +3, shortstop +1, 9 on base, which I really like. Didn't get too good of a speed in this.
It's a good chart, though.
Yeah, very good chart. He's got 1 through 2 out only. I feel like he's going to find range. 3.6 is a little costly, but again, you're getting the 9 on base here. I feel like he's good. I feel like he's good.
No, and when I play with the Rays next season in the 2018 league, I think I know Bowers is going to go to the bench, and we're inserting Robertson into the starting lineup and probably hitting him second or third. He's got a fantastic chart with the on-base 9 on at 3, and then just the type of pop, like your standard 16 double, 19 homer. It's a really draftable player. I think he's going to go in the 3rd or 4th round in ours just because of the position flexibility, the decent chart. He's someone you can plug into your team and say, all right, this is 3 positions mostly taken care of. Now I just have to worry about finding 2 guys later on, but I can pick the best available at second, short, or third and just give myself more options as the draft goes along.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going not in the first 2 rounds, but you're looking for flexible people with the on-base 9. I think he's going somewhere for sure early.
Yeah.
When we get to the bullpen, I previewed this card earlier to a lot of people during the Cy Young talks. But now he gets that actual symbol because he got the Cy Young as Blake Snell.
What a stud. He's definitely going to be a first-round pick.
You think? At 630 points?
Yes.
Well, I guess in our league.
No one else is taking him. I'm going to take him. He's a beast. Control 6, 1 to 16 out. Yeah. I'm like this is one of the 3 tier 1 starting pitchers in the set, and he's the one with the highest control. I'm totally sold on him. I'm going to pitch him 7 innings every time out.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
Now, for reference, the 2017, which I think was based off his 2017 season, was the Corey Kluber that we made.
Yeah.
Who was this? At least I think I made. I don't know if it was with your. I think it was with my charts, but he's a 6 control, 16 out guy. He can pitch 7 innings, but he is probably going to win the Cy Young in our league. He pitched 5 starts, if I'm not mistaken, and was 4-0 with like a 2 ERA. So the chart that you're getting from this guy is probably that. You're going to get 4 wins out of 5 starts and sub 3 ERA, which is very, very good.
And that's, I think that's the revolutionary way that we create charts at Greatest MLB Showdown is we focus on splitting pitchers up into tiers, and really looking less on just like what's their control and then filling it in, and more on which tier of pitcher do they belong in, and then you adjust on control. I think we did WAR this year.
Did you?
No, I don't. We did something. We factored things in. I know you use WAR.
I use WAR when I do my calcs, but that's because I'm just trying new things.
Yeah, and so but we distribute control then within the tiers based on the various factors, and
which I love.
Boy, yeah, and it's all about finding guys. Like a tier 1 starter is just infinitely more valuable over the course of a season than especially a tier 3, like the typical control 4 1 to 16 out, or control 5 1 to 15 out guys. And he's going to be an absolute stud. Can't wait to pick him.
I mean, I usually look at this guy and I would say I hate drafting, even though I did get Bob Gibson. I hate drafting huge salary point starters. Like, I'd rather get a 400-point starter. But after you've talked about it, and I can remember now watching Corey Kluber pitch throughout my last season it was an 18-game season, and he pitched 5 starts, and seeing him go 4-0, I mean, I look at that and go, that's what I want on my team.
Well, and then when you think about it, like whenever there's a salary cap that's really keeping everybody tight together, there's going to be a ton of parity. In any of the leagues I've done where, like the 30-team leagues, where even if we went unlimited cap, and so everyone had their best 20 players for each MLB team, or especially when we did 6,000-point caps, it was such a huge difference to have the super ace starter where you knew over the course of a 32-game season, 8 times, I'm going to win. And when 20 wins gets you into the playoffs, that's huge.
Yeah.
And 18-game season, if it's 5 starts, I'm guessing that playoff teams in your league, it's 10 or 11 wins.
It's 10 right now. 10 is
Yeah.
10 is a well. I guess 11 would have locked you in. 10 is what people are fighting for to get a chance to win.
Yeah, so I mean that's half of them
Half
right
of them.
there.
Yep.
So you're halfway there from one starting pitcher. That's
at
very
1/10
valuable.
at 1/10 of your salary. So it's like half of your win production to make the playoffs at 1/10 of your salary.
Yeah.
Or just 1/9 or something in that range. But that's you're right. I think. Oh man. So it's gonna be interesting if you're right. I think this guy's going first. If not to Peter, then to somebody. And if not, like when we later on see what DeGrom ends up being, which some people know and some people don't know what he's going to be, but I think the fans will like him, is another one of those tier 1 people that is probably going to go. But let's talk about the rest of the Rays starting pitching staff, which is a little lackluster, but then very interesting. So we have Jake Faria.
The next two, Faria and Glasnow, two guys who are definitely, you look at them and you realize why they went to the bullpen attempts. They're undraftable. Both are undraftable. Low IP, low control. Glasnow gives up a home run. Nothing to write home about. And then you got the rookie here, Stanek, who we gave a starter card to, despite being, for all intents and purposes, a reliever with his 1 IP.
Yeah, it was funny because when the charts came out, and if people that don't know Peter and Matt helps out with the charts. Yeah. I do more of the artwork stuff, but I go, hey, Peter, did you make a mistake here? Am I putting in 1 inning? No, that's right.
Yep.
So I showed this card to my cousin, and he was like, that is super interesting. And this is the kind of card that if you're going to do something wacky with, maybe having Josh Hader as your other bullpen guy helps you.
Yeah, and, and we gave him the control 5, so he might be able to push into the second inning. But it's really he had the second most starts for the Rays last year. He started 29 games.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, Chris Archer started 17, and then Faria started 12. Glasnow started 11.
Wow.
These are guys that we sort of we had to really bend our innings pitched rules. Like normally, guys have to pitch over 100 innings to get a card, but the Rays had so few starters that we had to go with Faria and Glasnow. But Stanek, 29 games started. He ended up appearing in 59 total games, but he only pitched 66 innings. So he was rarely going more than 1.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's going to be interesting if someone does a draft strategy like this where, let's say you did have Blake Snell as your number 1 and Stanek was like your number 4, knowing that maybe your relievers don't need to go with Snell because you're probably going to pitch 7-8 innings with him. Yeah. And you throw all your relievers in on the Stanek game, and he's going to go the first inning. Maybe he goes 2, like you said. But for 150 points, where's that line? It's you're getting a 5, 1 through 15 out starter. That's really interesting.
And then as we move to the bullpen with another rookie, because this was another of the confusing things was, were we supposed to switch around Yarbrough and Stanek because we have an IP4 reliever?
Yes, and I was very confused, but I do understand it obviously by seeing what the opener was. The idea is I'm going to pitch Stanek for an inning, and then I'm going to come in with Ryan after that for 4 innings.
And what was crazy is you look at this guy, he pitched nearly 150 innings. He pitched the second most innings on the team. He had 6 starts.
It's so wild.
He pitched in 38 games, but he only made 6 starts. So it was, we thought about it, and it made a lot more sense to us to make him a really interesting and flexible long reliever. And because of his lower tier, due to his high whip, he's really affordable IP4 guy. Yeah. 180 points.
Yeah, for under 200 points, you get a guy that can go 4 innings as a 3. I mean, this is like anytime your guy gets blown up, or if you're doing sort of this opener strategy for maybe one of your pitchers, I think he's actually very interesting and intriguing as a player to be drafted. Yeah. And I think that's why, like I was saying earlier, I had so much fun making this set as I'm doing the cards and actually putting in the input data. I'm like, this guy's pretty cool here, pitching 4 innings, and this guy's kind of wacky pitching 1 inning. Like, it's a little strange, and obviously people are going to be taken back by it first, but it's sort of what real baseball is becoming. a little bit, and I think the Showdown is sort of reflecting it, and not all over the place, but with some of these cards, you know. And I think people are going to have fun and more interesting times trying to figure out their strategies. You know, how are you going to use your bullpen? Because bullpen is more of a strategy in real baseball, and now does it become more of a strategy in your league?
And it's going to be interesting because I'm assuming that for the 16-team draft, we're going to do 20-team rosters.
It's going to be either 18 or 20. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be minimum 18 for sure.
Yeah.
And then I haven't decided if I want to do a mandatory 20 or sometimes I let people do a flexible bench if they want.
Okay. Like if they want to spend it on a couple more guys.
Get another reliever, get a bench spot. Like some people like getting a low point, a 30-point A-speed guy. Yeah. Because there's been times there's been times in late games where you get a guy on first or second in the 7th or 8th inning, and it's your C-speed first baseman. And you're like, I really need to get him on second base. I really need to knock him in for the single. So I hate restricting people. But I don't think that everyone wants it, and if they don't want it, I don't like telling them they can't.
Well, I like the idea of having, my 4-man rotation, my 9 hitters, and then getting 7 decent bullpen guys. Just having that depth to go to the arms, because I've seen it work in Milwaukee, seen it bring in a World Series to Kansas City. It's a really effective strategy in baseball these days, and I'm excited to bring it to Showdown.
That's right, and that's what's going to be really interesting. And there are some good relievers on this Tampa Bay team with Jose Alvarado, and Diego Castillo. I actually think Castillo's really good.
Diego's going to get drafted. Yeah, definitely.
He's
probably early-ish.
Yeah, he whenever people decide to go to the relievers, it's almost like if anybody's ever drafted football and fantasy, when people decide to start going for defenses, all of a sudden everyone starts going for defenses because they're afraid that people are going to grab the good ones. I think if people start going and grabbing Diego-type players at 200-point relievers that can just shut down people.
And a big part of that, too, is because we brought the tiers to whips for relievers and tried to disperse throughout the set. And so there's only 26 guys who are tier 2 or better. So we wanted,
it's very limited.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that there was that good diversity for gameplay to just make it more interesting with the drafting strategy and not make it so everyone can just add bullpen guys at will. And as it is right now for a 16-team league, not everybody's going to get 2 good relievers.
And that's what make your depth better that you were talking about. What I also like, too, is I think we talked about this as well, is old original 00 Showdown was broken with their relievers. I mean, you're talking about having some relievers at, like, I think, what's John Johnson, like 180, and he was a 6, 1 through 16 out. That's amazing. Too cheap. And then when you went to 01 Showdown, it was, like, too expensive. Like now relievers are like 230 points and stuff like that for like average guys.
Wow, he was 170. John Johnstone was 170
so
for
even worse.
I mean, that's Blake Snell.
Yeah, exactly. That's Blake why, Snell. And that's why obviously I drafted him. But that's not realistic. I think a 200.5 control 1 through 16 out is much more realistic in terms of salary, and it makes you do the hard choices. Like, do I want to spend 200 points in this premium reliever? Well, yeah, probably you do. I mean, it's gonna cost you, but it's not gonna be 01 costly. Where you
like Mariano Rivera at 300 points, Tom Gordon. I think Tom Gordon is the same as John Johnstone. Like they're both the control 6, 1 to 16 out, and one is 130 points more.
Yeah, and and I like the way you did yours with your salary. It seems to find the nice middle ground. And I think that's much more realistic. I think the bullpens were too close together in an original Showdown where you would always take John Johnstone because he was so much more value than someone at the 100-point range. But now, when it's the middle, it's like, okay, if for a 100-point reliever, do I want to spend another 100 points for the tier 2 reliever? You know, that's where you really start to go in.
And or even in the smaller things where you've got Diego and then Chaz Rowe, the next Rays reliever here. He's another tier 2 guy. And so he's a control 3 though, and so he's 1 to 18 out, 20 points less with the 2 control difference. And like, what do you want more? The 20 extra points to spend elsewhere, or that little extra bit of control, maybe being able to go 2 innings with Diego, or maybe you get a guy like Chaz and you think he's going to be perfect to just lock down bottom of the orders Like, I'm never going to have to worry about these on-base sixes.
Yeah, it's super interesting, and I'm very interested. And obviously, I hope you guys all are as well. And I will post, obviously, in the spring, the draft that we're doing and who's going where, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see, obviously, what the draft strategies are, who drafts what where, and how those teams actually perform in a very broad, very large league.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, before we lose track too much, the last guy, Sergio Romo, who is pretty much undraftable.
Yeah.
I'm not drafting him as a control one that can give up a home run at 20. Not taking him.
Nope.
But I think the Rays in general, as we talked earlier, are a very interesting team, very fun team. They have a lot of flavor to them. I think if you were a Rays fan outside of Showdown and you liked them in baseball, this, I think, represents them very well. I love the baby blue background, their secondary
really
color.
Nice. Really nice.
So it's a really fun team. It's going to stand out while you're playing Showdown. It's going to stand out in your strategy with Showdown. I think it's going to make people double think their strategies, and hopefully we'll break those down to you coming forward with our draft strategy show. But I think you guys are going to like this. Obviously, subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. Subscribe to the blog to post your comments. We're always eager to talk to our fans and talk strategy and break stuff down. And maybe we make some mistakes, or maybe there's stuff we didn't realize, or stuff that you guys like, or maybe there's stuff that you guys want us to post about. Let us know. Peter is obviously really easy to get a hold of, and he loves probably talking about Showdown more than me, which is hard to do. But I hope that you guys like the Rays. I hope that you guys tell me what you guys liked and disliked about them, who you guys are drafting. And Peter, what's coming up next?
We're going to finish up the National League's playoff teams and get out the Colorado Rockies, which I showed you Trevor's story the other day, and Javi Baez is still my favorite looking card so far, but my dream of drafting all my favorite looking cards might involve a Story Baez dream for a second round scenario. That's very unlikely in 16 teams, but I'm hoping that the low on base scares people away from Javi long enough for me to take him, just so I can have the most beautiful cards all on my squad.
Yeah, Peter likes to show me the cards that he also knows I love and then tell me that he wants to draft them before me. But that's what Story is, and I think that's what the Rockies are. And obviously, the people that might know me outside of Showdown know that I love the Indians and I love the Colorado Rockies as my National League team. So I'm very excited to see what Peter does with the Rockies. He obviously showed me Story, and I think you guys are going to love Story. But I think you guys are going to love the Rays as well. With that, I hope you guys had a great time listening, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right.